Spain just continue to roll. They are the first team to win all 6 matches at a Euros competition. This is their 6th semi-final. They've been the best team. Nige?
They have, and I just want to start by just saying, we always say about football, and Antonio will say this, football's a simple game. It's us that complicate it. The reason why Spain are so good for me is we've gone back to basic, good old football. And it's easy to say this, Nico Williams, Lamine Yamal. Yes, they're 2 young players everyone's talking about, but if you watch how they play the game, it's old school wingers who get the ball and want to go that way. There isn't now keeping this possession, which is what we've discussed about how Spain used to keep a lot of possession but have no bite. They've just gone back to wingers who get the ball and want to attack defenders, want to get forward. You look at that game early on, France did well to keep Lamine Yamal quiet because he wants to come inside. And what they did is they doubled up sometimes inside so he can't get that space. Eventually, he found that space to get his goal. But it's just the beauty of just wingers who want to attack defenders, which we don't see in the modern game. Everyone's all on social bites now. We could clip it to show you what Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal do to get Spain creating things. And we talk about other wingers, for instance, Anthony at Manchester United. If you get some clips of him, all you're going to see him is just doing circles and not taking on a defender. But it's just going back to basic football, give it wide, let them get at players. It's that simple.
That's been De La Fuente, right, throughout this competition. He doesn't mind possession, but it's possession with a purpose, to get forward. And I think that we've spoken, and we'll speak later to Guillaume Balaguer about this for the last couple of weeks, right, how De La Fuente interprets the Spanish game a little bit different than just what we saw 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Possession. You got to get forward at some point, and that's what this team does. And these 2 young studs, I mean, imagine if they both end up at Barcelona. If this transfer potentially does happen with Nico Williams, what this Spanish national team looks like over the next couple of years. And credit to De La Fuente, because there's a beauty about the directness that they play, but the incredible part, Nico, is when they are in tight spaces, they still look like the Spain of old.
That's the key of everything. Yeah. In my opinion, it's having the facet and the identity of that Spanish possession. They can bring that to the table, but then these 2 wingers kind of break the dynamic and they shift gears. They give them that different punch, that knockout punch in this case, that Spain didn't have before. They were questioned in so many processes coming up through Luis Enrique to the 2022 World Cup, underperforming in the big moments. It's felt stagnant when they needed to either break lines, because teams would bunker down. Look at Russia at the World Cup in 2018 when they eliminated them. Morocco. They didn't have a response. And now they keep everybody on their toes. They're respecting their heritage, but they've added something different, which is beautiful.
All right, well, time now for our Auto Trader Player Spotlight. If you see a car, find it on Auto Trader. And we are looking at one of the young stars that Tony mentioned, Lamine Yamal. What an absolute coming out party for this guy at this tournament. 16 years old, the youngest goal scorer in Euros history. I mean, what's the ceiling for this guy? It feels like this is just a superstar in the making. We are getting our first glimpses at greatness here.
He's already a superstar. For me, when you're doing that at 16 years old, playing for one of the biggest clubs in world football, with the pressure that comes from wearing that Barcelona badge, and then you've gone into the national team and you showed out. You haven't been shy about it. You've literally been one of their best players, one of their key players. And when I look at his games too, when you analyse it, I said it a little bit earlier, when you watch that game earlier, Hernandez did so well to close him down. When you're facing a player like a Nico Williams or Lamine Yamal, and you know they've got pace, they can go inside or outside, you've got to close them down as quickly as you can, because then they have to get their head down. If you let good players get their head up, as we saw Kylian Mbappe when he was able to, he put the ball in and France take the lead. But for him, he went inside and then they blocked him out. And for someone being 16 years old, you think of a game of this magnitude, you're playing France, it's the semi-finals of the Euros. Some players would shy away at 16, and then no one in the press would say anything. They said they had a fantastic tournament so far. But what he said is, I'm going to show you guys I'm the big boy. And he actually finally went inside, dropped the shoulder, Rabiot bit and went that way, and he's just come in, and it's just technical ability. And that's what all the young Spanish players come through. They come through that whole technical process of being good on the ball, technical ability, striking the ball, passing the ball. And he showed the world to say, I'm not shy, I'm not going to back down from a challenge. And that's what separates good players from great players, and especially at that age, to show that character and determination. Yes, you made it difficult for me so far. I'm not going to shy away from this. That was just great to watch.
I think the amazing part, too, is for me is that this isn't a moment for him. Like, he's actually the star. Like, he's carrying the tournament in a lot of ways. So it's not like some 16-year-old came on as a sub and he scored a banger of a goal and we all look at it and what did you call it yesterday with Nico Williams? They don't want TikTok reels or something like that.
Yeah, they don't want to be TikTok footballers.
Right. So this isn't what we're seeing from him. This is a great goal and it is a reel, but this doesn't explain the tournament that he's having. It doesn't explain the year that he's having. It doesn't explain what he means to this Spanish side at 16 years old. His dad is younger than some of his teammates that he has.
His father is 34 years old.
I mean, he's got braces and he's still doing schoolwork, and like you shouldn't be doing this when you're 16. It's amazing.
The mentality component of it all, because everything you said is true, but if you don't have the right mindset, you cannot be achieving what this kid is doing. I was a little piece of crap at 16 years old. I didn't have the right mentality.
You still know.
And all my friends, I think of my... Thanks, Nige. I think of all my friends at 16. We were so immature. So... I mean, it's...
Yep.
And when you see
Can we move on, Nico?
But what I'm getting to the point is, like, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like I can't even fathom the layman at 16 at such a big stage, and for him to take it as something natural. And then I heard him a lot post-game speaking to Spanish media. And the way that he speaks, he does not speak like a 16-year-old. He understands the responsibility, but he doesn't take it as a burden, because many 16-year-olds have this responsibility because they're the super boys. They're these young stars that have been thrust into the limelight. And he doesn't care. For him, but it's like as if he's playing in his backyard with his 34-year-old dad.
I would say that, just to add to that, from a player's perspective, we always say to young players, play games. We say play games because the more games you play, the more experiences you're going to have, different scenarios, whether you're 1-0 up, 1-0 down, how to close out a game, how to win a game. When you look at Lamine Yamal, how he plays the game, he plays with such wisdom already at such a young age that it's absolutely scary. I found out the more I play games, the older I get, the more you can read the game better, the more you can slow it down in your mindset. And just taking little clips, not just even from this France game, for the previous game before, there's moments in the final third where he's got the ball and most youngsters will try and do something fancy, whatever it is. He passed a great ball one time into Morata, and Morata's touch let him down. But for me, him showing that wisdom, that's something that you look at a player to being a 28, 29-year-old to be doing. Type of pass that Toni Kroos will be doing at the time, where he's just calm, composed, looks, and he makes that. He's doing it at 16. His end product is what people need to look at. And for any young players who want to be great players, watch what he does. It's not about the pirouette and the stepovers and this and that. No, they're playing him because he's making the right decisions in the final thirds. That's what the top players we see do, it at the right moment, right time, right pass, right everything, just perfect. And that's what he has been doing. And it's so scary to see that kind of maturity at a 16-year-old.
He's very intelligent. And we go back to nature versus nurture. Yes, it's innate from him, his talent and his maturity, but look at the people that he surrounded himself, or that the Spanish national team has put around him to help him succeed. Everybody understands what this kid is going through, and they have worked perfectly in sync to get the most out of him. And they help him to have this second nature feel about being the best player in a Euro semifinal, right? Everybody understands what this kid is going through, but they don't get ahead of themselves. And predominantly, the end product is good football. He has high IQ, he's very smart, and everybody around him help bring out the best qualities, because they're putting out their best qualities on the field.
That's
I would also say the manager deserves a lot of credit, because I'll know loads of managers who would panic and hesitate to play a 16-year-old, but he's just said, nope, these are my two guys.
He's
going to
put a
different
lot of
ways.
Throw
trust in
Xavi
them.
into that too, right? His manager at club level.
Yeah,
Trusting.
absolutely. So he's going to turn 17 the day before the final, which is
Saturday. Yeah.
which is
I think I was
is
grounded
wild.
at 17.
Crazy. So they've taken down Germany. They take down France. When they're looking at today's semifinal between the Netherlands and England, who do you think they're hoping for?
I personally think they'll be hoping for England.
How did that feel coming out of your mouth, Nige?
I'm very aware. I think they know what they've got.
Who do you think they match up better against?
Who they match better against? I'll probably say that the Netherlands will be who they match better against.
Okay.
Because England could be a tricky one, because England still just haven't turned up in this tournament.
Yeah,
I think that they would prefer England, and obviously there's a lot of similarities there with Rodri playing at Manchester City, knows a lot of the players very well, knows their strengths and weaknesses. So I think they would prefer to play England in the final.